So first and foremost, I would like to extend a really warm welcome to everybody who's managed to join us today. But obviously in order to do that, I need to sort of explain who I am. I'm Jill Walton, and I hope very much that I've had at least email contact with all of you, if not telephone contact, before today. So welcome. There are other members of the Dementia Research Centre here today, and all of whom are on hand and really here with the intention of making this meeting as useful as possible for you. So please let us know if there's anything at all that we can do to facilitate that for you. We have people here who are visitors for the first time, and indeed we have people who've travelled from Germany to be with us today, as well as from Manchester and other parts of the country. So for those of you who are here for the first time, could I just ask you to raise a hand so that people in the room know? Thank you. Thank you. I have to say, we have had somebody who's made the journey from New Zealand, so you're not quite the first. And also to mention that we have got people tuning into the meeting through Skype technology, and most importantly, for your information right now, is the fact that this meeting is being audio recorded live, so that people who can't be here in person are taking part through the technology that Tim and Sylvia are kindly managing over here in the corner. So that does of course mean that anything you contribute by way of a question or a comment in this room will be recorded live. Your voice will be heard, your face won't be seen. If you have an issue with that, then put your question through one of us, but otherwise just be aware that that's happening. For many of you, you're here as a regular member of the group, and it's lovely to see familiar faces back today. I only have two notices really that I wanted to dwell on, and the first was just to mention a bit of an update with regard to the House of Lords event that we hosted in December of last year. So you may recall that the support group hosted an event in the House of Lords to raise awareness of young onset dementia, and I just wanted really to feed back to you some of the outcomes of that event. Notably, an ongoing relationship with the Royal College of Optometrists, which is the most important and significant for this group of people, obviously, but also new relationships with the Royal College of Speech and Language Therapists, the College of Social Workers, and the Relate Counselling Organisation. So all of which I think are really exciting developments for people like us affected by diagnoses like these. The other point I just wanted to raise very briefly was that of fundraising, and of course to just make mention to the fact that we are incredibly grateful to the Myrtle Ellis Fund for the funding which now allows this support group to operate at all. So to those members of the Myrtle Ellis family who are here today, thank you. And we have been grateful for ongoing fundraising initiatives over the years. Helen is here today and selling stained glass jewellery. Helen's mother has PCA, and the proceeds from everything she sells today will go to the support group. It's a real privilege and pleasure to be able to have no charge to membership of this group, and absolutely that is the case. If you wish to make a donation towards the cost of running the meetings, that's entirely at your discretion. There is a pot at the back if you want to, but first and foremost, it is important that we say this is absolutely a pleasure to be able to provide at no cost to you. Finally, just to go through a couple of thank yous, obviously to everybody who's helped to make today possible in terms of preparation, but also I like to try and just say thank you publicly to Celia on a semi-regular basis, because she's just amazing and takes our minutes meeting after meeting after meeting and turns up and just does it, and they appear on my email machine, and it's just the most wonderful provision that you provide. Thank you. My notice actually said buy flowers, but I didn't. That's not. Thank you. So without further ado, I would very much like to introduce Rob Harris, who is going to speak to us this morning, or at least provide a platform from which we will go on to have discussion about PCA-related visual impairment when we're moving around pavements and outdoors. So my prompting to contact Rob in the first place actually came from the support group members themselves. The Cycleyes campaign was brought to my attention, and when I looked up the Cycleyes campaign, it just looked like a really amazing initiative. It was itself prompted by members of Guide Dog Association and so service user-led campaign. Rob's going to talk a little bit more about it, but the campaign sort of ended with an invitation for those who were interested in supporting the campaign to get in touch. And so it was with that in mind that I got in touch, on my own behalf, but on behalf of the group too, because I thought from what I saw about the campaign, a lot of the issues that were affecting people who had visual impairment and were members of the Guide Dog Association also were relevant to people with PCA, and perhaps there was some leeway and sort of overlap in terms of how we could work together in terms of an understanding. So Rob was fantastic when we spoke on the phone, and very, very interested to know more about the group, and so it's a real pleasure to have him along with us today to set the tone, to set a platform from which we will go on into support group discussion meetings in sort of 10 to 15 minutes. So, Rob, thank you.
Jill, thank you very much. It's fantastic to have the opportunity to speak to you and to hear that the campaign reached as far as it did. So thank you. I don't think I've seen so many people disappointed to see me without a doggy.
Yeah.
Whenever I go and talk somewhere, I always get the same thing. People look to my left or the right, never at me, and say, where's the dog? I'm not a guide dog user, I'm fully sighted. I'm an engagement manager for Guide Dogs in London, so I represent the organisation with a public-facing part of Guide Dogs, and this is really the nuts and bolts of what we do, engage with organisations such as yourself, to help raise the issues that our clients have, to work closely together and to promote our service more and get ourselves some more service users. Very briefly, Guide Dogs in London supports over 330 people, all of those with dogs. Across the UK, we have, I think, just over 4,000 clients. And we are a lot more than dogs today. And one of our key services is called My Guide. I can answer questions about guide dogs at any time, but this might be one that you've never heard of before. But My Guide reaches out to those vision impaired people who are isolated. Perhaps they've not left home since their sight loss, and they require some reintegration back into their community. We train up volunteers through 2 levels of recognised sighted guardian training. We then match those people up to those vision impaired people who need that extra confidence and independence, and they have a partnership which lasts on average around 3 months. The idea is that they reintegrate to the community, show them around the local area, we'll take them and do toys with them, in the hope that we can leave them. In some cases, you will find that those service users of My Guide will later come on to become guide dog owners themselves. So the reason I'm here today is, as Jill said, to talk about cycling and our Cycleyes campaign. It's estimated there are about 170,000 bike journeys made across London every single day. The 3-mile north-south and 18-mile east-west cyclist superhighways that segregate cyclists from the traffic are now being built in London, so levels of cycling will only increase. The Mayor and cycling groups say that segregation is the only way to protect cyclists from danger and promote mass cycling. Opponents say they take too much space from motor traffic and will bring gridlock. One section of road user appeared to be left out of the debate, the pedestrian, and it was an issue that led to our campaign. Our clients came to us at the end of 2013 in our annual meeting and told us that they were avoiding certain areas of London because they were having near misses, or in some cases, getting hit by cyclists. Those are the cyclists who are skipping red lights or riding on pavements. They were describing how scary it felt to hear the whoosh of a cyclist go past you and not know from which direction. Not just for themselves, but for their dogs as well. The dog would startle and perhaps lead them astray. In some cases, we're also hearing of some of our guide dog owners being hit or the dogs themselves. As you all know, or may know, London is very, I want to get from A to B and I will do anything to get there. And whilst we understand that the vast majority of cyclists are responsible, I think as a fully sighted person myself, I see more than once a day people riding on pavements or skipping road lights and doing what they feel, not following the rules of the road. To hear that it was stopping our clients going out to certain areas of London was startling to us. We were giving these people a chance for mobility and independence, and to hear that the cycling community, or a small part of it I should say, were preventing our clients from being mobile was something that we needed to address. So we wanted to make sure we had some positive engagement for the cycling community and try to turn around this behaviour by making aware of this issue. And I had a fair idea this would be a hot topic, but I don't think I realised quite how hot. Before I get onto that, we set about coming up with 5 things that cyclists could do to help our clients. One was pay attention, look to see if the guide dog and owner are waiting to cross the road, and remember that the dog and owner can't always see or hear you. If you see the guide dog owner waiting to cross, use your bell and call out to let them know that you're there. If the guide dog and owner are already crossing the road, please stop and wait until they've reached the other side. Do not cycle up behind or around the guide dog and owner, no matter how much space you think you've given them, because they may be startled and get confused. And if you need to use the pavement for any reason, please dismount. Bumping off the curb onto the road can scare and confuse the guide dog. The strapline for the campaign was use your eyes for those who can't, for those who can see the poster behind me. We produced some high visibility snap bands. These little wristbands here for those who can see them, lengthways like so. And the idea was that these could easily be slapped on the wrist, like so. They were reflective, cyclists could use them when they're out and about, and they also contained the messaging here about where to go on our website to see the campaign messaging. And we also put a hashtag on the bottom here for Twitter users as well, because the cycling community love to get on social media, which we later found out. So one sunny morning, we took to the street at a busy junction and handed out over 1,000 of these to passing cyclists. And we did it with the support of the London Cycling Campaign, because we wanted to make sure we were showing that we had engaged with the cycling community and that they were supporting us in our cause. 95% of cyclists that day, I would say, were happy to see us supportive of our cause and took us away with them. There were a small minority who didn't want anything to do with it, which was fine. We let them go away, but at the same time, because of the merchandise we produced, we could still slap it on their wrist and they could go away and get the message. So in the morning, with a live radio broadcast, the BBC and ITV there, and the Evening Standard, and a few internet bloggers, all coming from a press release that I would send out, the debate it sparked was quite intense. And at times, sometimes brought out the ugly side of social media. But we had to stand up and we had to stand tall, because we're talking about the clients that we represent here and hearing about them not getting mobile. You know, we have a very valid reason to do this, and it's a positive engagement campaign. And we didn't want to be seen to be branding all cyclists as those who were riding around misbehaving. It was a small minority. So some guide dog owners, as a result of this campaign and all that messaging, did see a bit of a change in behaviour over the coming week, which is really interesting to hear. And still today, we hear reports of some of the staff come to me who are cyclists themselves, saying that they see cyclists still wearing these because they find them useful from a high-five point of view as well. So, as a result, we've met with some cycling groups keen to further engage with us. We've begun to have significant talks with designers of the cycle superhighways to ensure that they're delivered with our messaging in mind. And I've since been asked to talk about this campaign with other groups such as yourselves. And even the Mayor's office in New York have asked us to use our 5 points, and they'll be running our campaign in the city in May. So this year, although we won't be seeking media attention, we will be out and about at other busy junctions, handing out the material, but we're doing it in conjunction now with the Met Police, and they have their own campaign, which is called Trading Places, and they invite cyclists to sit in an HGV carriage and see for themselves where the black spots are around the carriage, so that increases safety as well. So we're going to be doing that in conjunction with them and the events that they set up, because they were really interested in the messages we had and wanted to support. So ultimately, we want to make sure London's roads are safe for all road users. That's a mission too big for us to tackle on our own, but we want to make sure that our clients are within that wider debate. So again, thank you very much for listening to me. I'm happy to take any questions you may have. And again, I'm just really pleased to have the opportunity to talk about the campaign and the issue itself. So thank you. Yeah, the question is whether or not the campaign will be spread beyond London. I believe one of our other groups, our other mobility teams we call them, elsewhere in the country, one of them has taken it on and done it themselves. There's no reason that we shouldn't encourage other of our geographical areas to do so. And I think we would urge all of our clients who have seen the campaign or thought it's been a success here to approach the Guide Dogs organisation there and encourage them to do it, because the merchandise exists, the leafleting exists, it can just be rolled out. I do think that there was a bit of a backlash from some cycling groups who saw us as meddling and highlighting the issue that wasn't really there. So there may be some people who are a little bit afraid to tackle it, but I do believe we need to stand up and rise above those who take issue. And cycling groups here are extremely vocal in London. So we were always going to get a bit of criticism, but we work for it. Yes, I mean that was one of the things that sparked the campaign itself, was this horrible feeling of something behind you or something whooshing past you and you're not knowing where it's come from. And I was talking earlier about skateboards is another one. You know, if you hear them coming behind you, they make a horrific noise, but those of us with sight are able to judge which way to jump or move out of the way, and those without can't do anything like that. So anything with wheels, we believe, does not really belong on pavements. And I think all of our clients would like to assume that when they're on the pavement, they're safe. So we are actually supportive of some of these cycle superhighways that clearly segregate pavement from cycle pathway to road. It just makes complete sense that you get the feeling that when you're on the pavement, you're safe. If you're in a cycle lane, that's for cyclists, and if you're on the road, that's for cars. It does make sense. It needs to be delivered in the right way. Shared spaces are a problem for us here in London, where you have large open amounts of space with street furniture scattered around. Cars can share it when they like, bikes can share it when they like, and pedestrians have to second guess where they're going to walk. So that's another thing we're campaigning against here. Segregating everything, making it very clear, delineation, curbs, so that everyone can feel where they're going and feel safe is our priority. Sadly, it's spreading, and all we can do is respond to consultations and try to get in there before these changes happen. We make many calls to borough councils about the fact that tactile paving needs to be correct. You can't second guess where you've got to cross on the road. You need to be able to find a safe crossing point. You can't hear cyclists, so you can't hear when they're approaching. You don't know. You could walk out in the road thinking it's safe to go. The other issue we have is electric vehicles. We're working with the European Parliament to put in a sound level that they can make so that you can hear them approaching. Yeah, sadly, shared spaces is an issue that isn't going to go away, but we've got to work to make sure that they are accessible, and the removing curves is a sad thing. Yes, you'll find that some clients hate the use of the bell and others like it, but they only like it if that's followed by "I'm behind you," or "I'm to your right," or "I'm to your left." You know, as a cyclist, I'm guessing if you're going very fast and you're going down, if you're following the rules of the road, you would assume from the back, if you can't see the dog or you can't see the white cane being used, you would just use your bell. So it can be difficult in some circumstances, but the recommendation of us using the bell would be followed by tell us where you are. And when it comes to cycling in parks, we would say that shouldn't be allowed. Unless again there's a segregated lane. Some London parks do say no cycling, but we know those rules are never followed. But yeah, that's where we'd stand on use of the bell. It appears in our literature that we, again, will be putting up through the year, but because we have a close relationship with Transport for London, and they're rolling out these cycle lanes, we've made it clear to them we want to be a part of that, and they have promised to us that as part of the delivery of those, a cycling education programme will be put in place too, because they understand that that behaviour needs to be shown.
Sure, thank you. And I think that kind of sums up working together is exactly the sort of best way forward, isn't it? And we've certainly benefited in the past from the knowledge and the expertise held by the National Institute for Blind People and some of the technology that they've shared with us. And I think it's a really helpful insight to gain into the expertise that you have and the campaign that you've led. So thank you very much indeed for sharing that.